what's up, man? How you doing?
Hi, I'm
It's
good.
great
How
to meet
are
you.
You too.
Man, so a lot to talk about.
For sure.
Today. So my name's Mahiri. Mo, you can call me Mo. All my friends call me Mo. What about you, bro?
My name is Ritz, and
Ritz?
people call me Ritz.
Ritz. Okay,
Yeah.
for sure. That's dope. What you got? What we got, man?
All
We got
right,
some
so-
cards, yeah.
Ask you the first question.
Okay.
So, when was a time when someone reached out to help you, or you reached out to help someone else that really stuck with you?
Yeah. Well, since this is more recently, I think I could talk about this. When somebody really reached out to me and really picked my hand up, was Chancellor May. Chancellor May really helped me out. And it's funny, so like to relay and go back on the story, right? So I have my nonprofit, More Truth, More Change, right? And I was like, man, I wanna get this special individual on my podcast, right? Because I've been looking up to Chancellor May ever since like I was a sophomore in high school, right? Because I kind of already knew about him, and people would be like, Chancellor May, who's it? But I'm like, man, he's Barack Obama already. He said he was
Yes.
cool, right? So I was like, for sure. So then came a couple of months ago. I got in contact. I shot a Hail Mary of an email with this football attempt. I was like, hey, here's me, here's my bio, here's everything that I stand for. And him and his assistant reached out to me, and he really picked me up and put me on that pedestal to succeed. So definitely, and then paying it forward, to the next generation with my nonprofit. My COO, her name's Kayla. She's barely a junior in high school. So whatever I learned from whatever Chancellor May is like letting me know about mentorship and everything that goes as far as that's concerned, I try to relay that to Kayla. She's the next generation. So
Awesome.
It's definitely getting picked up and then reaching your hand back down and picking someone up and hoping that they'll do the same. So definitely,
That's
bro.
beautiful. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that.
Yeah, of course. What about you?
Well, as a person, I really value mentorship.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the involvements that I have, a lot of the positions that I have in clubs on campus has been really centered about mentorship. So I have a lot of mentees who reach out to me for help, sometimes feeling lost,
Yeah.
and academically just sometimes struggling with their classes.
Yeah.
And I also pay it back to them to really give valuable and
Yeah.
very truthful advice.
Yeah.
And just in my circle of friends, I really value helping others succeed academically, and
Yeah.
not just academically, even in their social life.
Yeah.
And so one moment that really stuck to me was when one of my mentees for the Global Ambassador Mentorship Program, which is a program that tries to help international students who just came to UC Davis ease their way into the life here.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah.
So one of the moments that stuck to me was when they called me in the middle of the day and they said, Ritz, I have no one else to talk to, and I feel lost academically.
Yeah.
And she even shared a very touching story where she is dealing with personal problems, and she even cried herself to sleep
Yeah.
the night before. And I was very empathetic towards her feelings
Yeah.
because I kind of experienced that in my first year as well.
Yeah.
And we had a very long conversation, and at the end of it, she said, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. And to me, that really stuck in my memory because the moments you share with others is so important that you may not realize its
Exactly.
value.
Exactly.
But just being there for people and really listening to them is something that I now personally value, and others who I have helped have appreciated as well. And I think that goes back to how UC Davis is as a community. We all are here to help, and we all are here to support each other.
Yeah, and that's definitely we want people to understand.
Yeah.
Mentorship. I saw that key word that you said, and that I stated as well. I know everyone claims, we want change in the world, peace, equity, all that. We want everything. However, it's kind of like you don't know who's looking up to you. You have to be that. You need to be the change. If not you, who? If not now, when?
Yeah.
No, it's you. And when you symbolize, this figure of change, then that just does nothing but inspire him, her, and it's like, man, I like I like Ritz, man. I like Mahiri. You know, I want to be like that.
I love that.
UC Davis, oh my gosh, that's great. You know, I want to be that engineer or, you know, pursue neuroscience or communications. And, you know, so it's definitely a sense of mentorship, and it's beautiful, really beautiful. So I'm about to hit you with something too.
For sure.
Okay, so now that we're here, okay, so I want to ask, what's your favorite place on campus at UC Davis?
Oh, wow. Favorite place
Yep.
would have to be the quad.
Okay.
So, yeah. No, I was just telling you before this conversation, that's when I really go to relax after my classes. During the weekends even, I go out with friends and have picnics there.
Yeah.
And, oh, well, another place that I really love is the Arboretum. It's a very relaxing place. And funny story, for one of my classes, Miss 2C, they kind of gave us a task to categorize all the animals and all the plants in the Arboretum for extra credit. And so that was a very good way for me to really familiarize myself with the Arboretum. And I grew to appreciate it even more. So I go there to relax, to study, to hang out with friends, get boba, which is Davis is known for, and just, you know, have a good time, because it's a really good way to de-stress, just going to the Arboretum.
For sure.
Yeah, it's been one of my favorite places.
For sure. It's a baby forest.
Yes,
it's crazy.
definitely, yeah. How about you? What's your favorite place in campus?
Okay, so I don't have any pre-COVID experience, but through my experience, my first year, my dream when I was younger was to be at a university library.
Yes.
You know, to walk in and feel the rigor of the university, right? So when I came up here, that was the first thing on my mind. Like after I took the COVID test, after I had the right precautions, after everything was said and done, I was like, dude, I gotta go to the Shields Library, right? So that's exactly what I did. I went to the Arboretum, beautiful. I went to the quad, and I was like, man, I could see how they would have crazy events here. So I was like, okay, let me go to the library. Like, let me feel that presence, you know. Definitely, hands down. As soon as I walked in, I was like, oh yeah, this is my spot. I'm like, how many floors is it? And he's like, oh yeah, we have a, I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy. Looking at all these books, there's people studying. You can tell there's some graduate students. There's some people that's maybe in med school, law school, undergrads. You can just tell, like, man, I'm looking at him. He just looks smart, you know. Wow, oh my gosh, her presence is just crazy, right? She's just beaming with educational opportunity, right? So definitely my first time walking up the floors and going to my little section, you know, of studying, plugging my charger in and just putting that there. And I'm like, okay, I'm a college student at their library studying. Wow. You know,
it's crazy.
For the first time. And it's like, this is cool. And they're like, hey man, it's been a couple hours already. We're about to close. And I'm like, oh wow, already? Oh, can I stay the night here? So it's like, it's really cool. Definitely that, for sure.
Yeah, I remember my first time going to the library. That was during my midterms in my first quarter here in Davis. And I just saw everyone studying, taking out their laptops, you know, reading books, and I was like, oh my God, this is the culture that I wanted to
it's
be
the
in.
culture. Yep, exactly.
And I was like, I really am meant to be here.
Yep, exactly. So now that we're diving in more into the campus, I wanted to ask, so what are you involved in on campus? What's your stuff?
Currently I kind of touched on this, but so I'm a pre-med student, so I want to go to medical school in the future. And so there's definitely a little of that pressure to, you know, be involved in a lot of things in community service. And to me, it's kind of perfect because I love helping other people as well. And so doing community service isn't something that I'm forced to do. And so some of the things that I'm involved in are, in the beginning I said, the Global Ambassador Mentorship Program, which is under the Global Affairs on campus. It is basically a mentorship program to help incoming international students ease their way into the UC Davis life. And so I'm glad to say that I'm going to be one of the co-coordinators for next year. So I'll be kind of managing the mentors and seeing how the program goes. And on top of that, I'm also part of the Philippines Association for Health Careers. And so this is really one of the most important organizations
Yeah.
that I've been a part of since my freshman year, because that's one of the first organizations that I joined and really gave me that sense of community and support.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now I'm their academic chair, and so I help students go through their academic journey
Mm-hmm.
and try to support them along the way. On top of that, we have a bunch of resources to help support pre-meds and
Yeah.
pre-health individuals. On top of these organizations, I'm also a volunteer for Willow Clinic,
Mm-hmm.
which is a student-run clinic in Sacramento, which cares for people experiencing homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do is provide free medical services for people experiencing homelessness and really advocating for them and advocating for their voices.
Man,
let me
okay.
think of
He's
what
like, let
else.
me go through the list.
Wait, okay, one more. One more.
Keep going. No, keep
Yeah,
going. Yeah.
so I'm also part of the My State of Mind, which is an initiative and a club in UC Davis that advocates for mental health. And so right now we are working on a project with the UN to promote mental health awareness on campus. So a lot of things to look forward to this year.
Got it. Man,
Yeah.
beautiful. You're killing it. You're
Thank
killing
you.
it. No, for sure. For
I'm sure you have a lot of involvements too.
I got a couple.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, what are they?
Okay, so in the basis of all of everything that I'm shooting for, I just want positive change, right?
Love that,
Things that I can do to help the next person and change their life beneficially. So when I get involved in campus, I just want that to be a major motive that drives me. So when I first got involved, it was really through the STEP program, Special Transition Enrichment Program. I was one of their students, right? But I was kind of just filling the waters, talking, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Just kind of, but by the end of the 6-week journey for summer session 2, the STEP program, they asked me to be one of their MCs for the program. So they were essentially hosting an event and they wanted me to host it with them, co-host it. So I was like, wow, okay, cool, right? So I did that and everything went extremely well. So I kind of still kept my contacts with my PAC through STEP. And then it came up to an opportunity to apply to be EOP Street Team STEP Liaison Intern. So I was like, wow, if I could get this position, it was only one, right? If I could get this, I could really directly change more people's lives. And like you, I wanted to go to med school. Having that chance to give someone a prescription and knowing that I helped them directly that way gives me my dopamine. It makes me feel great that I helped that person.
Yeah.
But I really want to reflect. I reflected and I was like, okay, is there a way I could help multiple individuals at one time? I'm talking about maybe even 100, just in one sitting, right? So then I applied, I really got into it, and then I got the position. So I'm STEP's intern, and it just laid on to being their special projects assistant for the upcoming year. So that's how I'm involved with them, and essentially STEP is kind of similar to yours, but we help minorities and especially individuals from low-income backgrounds transition to the rigor of a university, because it could be alarming, right? So that's essentially what we help with. So I have that going. It's really great. So on behalf of my nonprofit organization, More Truth, More Change, one of our motives on what we're trying to do is establish a club at almost every single high school and university. Okay, so if we're at that, because that's such a transitional phase, right, from 14 to 18. Oh, that's transitional, right? So, but if they could have at least one or an office, right, to help them and pick them up and be like, hey, we got your back, let's feed you knowledge, right? Then we could do that. So really proud to say that we're establishing More Truth, More Change as a club here. We're getting everything written down. My director, Franklin Roras Saravia, is getting everything done. Same thing with Katia Delgado. So it's great. There's that. Yeah, just every day, I'm trying to get involved just a little more. Another emphasis that I'm really putting on is public speaking. So I've been public speaking at high schools, I public speaked at one university, and I'm trying to get an event going on here, too, virtually, of course. So just trying to preach my word in that way. So definitely, those are three main ways that I'm really trying to get involved. Definitely in my first year, and hopefully bleeding into my second, third, and fourth year. So
Yeah, I love that. I'm excited for what you bring to UC Davis.
thank you, man. We got a lot. We got a lot to go.
Looking forward to it. So, kind of tying back everything that we talked about.
Yeah.
How did you find community at UC Davis?
Yeah. Growing up, it was really difficult to find a community that really stood what I was going for. I mean, I came up in the basketball realm. I came up in Victorville, but I knew deep down I wanted to make a difference. But I feel as if the difference that some African Americans make is through sports like football, basketball. Coming up, that was our way of making it out, right? Mm-hmm. You got to go to the NBA in order to make it out. You know, if not, then we'll see what life takes you. But I knew I wanted to be different, you know. And oftentimes when I was being myself, I had friends that were kind of falling off because I was myself, you know. So, like, I liked weird things. I liked Star Wars. I liked, anime. I liked Marvel, and I liked school. I liked reading. I liked that part. I was, like, a little nerdy. Still am. Real proud of it, right? So going to UC Davis, I made a promise. I was like, okay, I'm going to be myself. If friends follow, they follow. If not, that's beautiful. And as soon as step came, as soon as my first week in the summer session for UC Davis, I just was being myself. I was out there, super extroverted, and out of nowhere, I just found like 30 people rallying behind me, like, "What's up?" Like, hey, really cool. Just a whole lot of people that's like, "Wow, he's like me. I'm not alone." Yeah. So definitely, that's how I found my community. It's just being myself. And just knowing what my why is, why am I doing this? And I want to be different. That's my why. So definitely. What about you, bro?
Yeah, I kind of resonate to your story as well because coming into UC Davis, I also had that mentality, this is my chance to really be myself and really see where this whole experience would take me. So kind of like what you did, I would have considered myself an introverted person before coming to Davis. But then, I was like, you know what? Let me try to be extroverted for one day. And so that was like orientation. And everyone was super nice and everyone was so welcoming. Everyone was willing to make friends. And that's when I knew I wasn't alone in this experience. And that's how I really found community. In a sense, it's sort of like the community here at Davis found me instead of me finding them. Yes. And they welcomed me with open arms, just with their warmness and generosity and support that they extended to me. And this is true to the faculty as well. The teachers, the administration has really become very cognizant of the ways they could support the students. And that's how I fell in love with UC Davis, the sense of community that it gave me.
Yeah, just
I'm here,
Everyone tying it all in together.
Oh yeah,
for sure. It's so beautiful. But
really
I wanted to ask you though, because we're kind of getting into the social life, all of that. So I wanted to ask you overall. So, what are the vibes like in Davis? Like, what's the vibe here? I only know COVID era. What's the pre-COVID vibes like? Like, tell me.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on the community that you find yourself in.
Okay.
I mean, you can be with people who love animals, since UC Davis is known to be the best in veterinary medicine. And so you can have someone who, loves cows and all the cows on campus and all the animals. You can also have people who, love academics, and so you'll be in research opportunities. You'll hear all about that. But overall, there's this like very chill, laid-back vibe in UC Davis, and not just on campus, but outside as well. You see a lot of mini restaurants and cafes and boba places that students could just hang out. We have the farmers market every Wednesday and Saturday morning, I believe. And that's where people get together. And it's really far away from the busy city life. And so you have that very chill, again, laid back very just quaint environment that
Yeah.
you know students could just thrive in.
It's not too much, but it's not too little.
Yeah.
It's just very, yeah. I mean, with me, I was something I tell a lot of people, right? I only know a small percentage.
Yeah.
Like, I can only imagine how it would be 100% capacity. Like if people are really, like I've only heard tales of people like sit chairs and just wait for freshmen to like hit each other with the bikes because they don't know how to. So I've only heard tales, but it's really funny and I laugh about it.
It really is.
But personally, my vibe with it is really just like you said. It's real. Like this is the only ever community in my life where I walked up to a squirrel and was like, "Hi," and he looked at me and I looked at him.
Yes.
Like literally, they'll be this close, and I was like, "What's up?" And he was just like, "Hey, that's crazy." And it's so colloquial. It's so relaxed, so chill, and it's just like what? And like I said, I'm from SoCal, so SoCal's like high energy. What's up? We're up with the pace. It was different coming over here. It's like okay, it's a little colder, and everyone's a little calmer. Definitely, my first day, I walked up. I drove here because you have to get the COVID test, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, before I do anything, I have to get my test. I was lost. I was like,
This campus is huge.
I was lost. I think I was downtown. As you know, that's a long ways away from where it is. But someone pulled on the side of me and was like, hey, how are you doing? And I was kind of alert because they pulled up and I'm like, whoa, what is this, right? Because in SoCal, it's like, yo, hey, what are you doing? Where are you going, right? Where are you driving to? And he pulled up and he was like, hey, how you doing, man? And I was like, oh, I'm good. He was like, are you lost, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, I kind of am. He's like, where are you trying to go? He directed me, showed me. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So the vibe is like really caring and just really chill. That's definitely something that I'm not used to.
Yeah,
so that's
me
really
too. Because I came from Dubai, a very busy.
You came from Dubai?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm an international student from Dubai, and as you may know, like it's very busy there. You know, it's a very exciting life.
Fast-paced.
And I thought coming into college that I would always thrive in a city where it's busy and sometimes noisy because that's what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
Then coming here, I really appreciated the sort of quietness far away from what I'm used to in Dubai.
Yeah.
Because that really helped me focus in my studies and really helped me relax when I'm stressed.
Most definitely.
Yeah, but it was a totally different environment. Like my eye level was always up because of the buildings in Dubai, but now it's just always like this.
Just always just
Yeah.
like, right there,
Yeah.
linear, for sure, for sure. I think we're
Yeah,
that's
that's
it.
yeah.
For sure. Well, it was great talking to you. Great,
too.
deep, really connecting. Ritz, you're amazing. You're killing
You
it. You're
too.
killing the game. No, like for real, man. Yeah. So it's great talking to you.
Thank
and
you.
Yeah, man.
It's
We
great
gotta
talking to
connect.
you
We
too.
gotta connect.
Yeah, for
So-
sure.